Holy moly, has it seriously been 2.5 years already since this game came out? I think it's safe to say we've talked about Persona 5 a lot on this channel. Hell, just Persona in general. We've covered both versions of Persona 5, the sequel spin-off that is Strikers, the crossover spin-off with Persona Q2, and I've even done a whole let's play of Royal on the hard difficulty using only your starting Persona Arsene. I think the only thing I have left to do in regards to Persona 5 is discuss the anime, but I'm really glad to see the Persona reviews have become some of my most popular videos, and I hope the Shin Megami Tensei stuff will tide everyone over until the next Persona title comes out. As a surprise announcement though, in celebration of the series' 26th anniversary, Persona 3 to 5 are finally getting remastered on more modern consoles including PCs, PS4s, PS5s, Xboxes, and yes, at long last, the Nintendo Switch, which so many fans have been wanting for years to take that Persona fun on the go without having to spend hefty money on a Vita with a now inferior version of Persona 4 Golden. At the moment, all we have is the remastered version of Persona 5 Royal that from today you can pick up on all of the aforementioned platforms, although sadly previous owners of the PS4 original are not given an upgrade of sorts for PS5s, even at a discount with other titles such as Uncharted, GTA 5, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. I imagine it's all because not only does the PS5 version, as well as the other ports, improve graphical performance with a higher frame rate, it also includes every bit of DLC that you would have to buy separately with a PS4 version. Yes, we can finally use that overpriced Kasumi costume bundle for the one part it has in the entire game, and I can even try out some of the extra DLC personas I couldn't before. For a long time, I've been wanting to try out Raoul, Joker's third-tier persona that has no reason being locked behind a paywall, but I think I'll wait until near the end of the game to do so that I'm not just completely bypassing the whole thing. If I want to do that, then I'll just fuse Izanagi no Okami, possibly the most broken persona out of the lot for his tremendous stats and high damaging attacks. Yeah, maybe not. I can at least finally put on the Royal exclusive costumes I've wanted to get for so long, and a couple of them surprisingly work really well, including their battle themes. I think out of the ones added for Royal, my favorites were the SMT Strange Journey and Dancing in Starlight costumes based on their aesthetics and music alone, and for non-Royal exclusives, I really liked the Raido Kuzunoha ones, and that battle theme kicks so much ass. I should really play those games someday. Gotta say though, I was pretty disappointed with the Q2 costumes, which I originally wanted the most out of all of them. The models look pretty good, there's no 3DS edging anywhere, and the music change to Invitation to Freedom is nice, but the lack of expressions and dead stares on the party make it a little uncomfortable to see up close. I totally understand that all of this DLC may not be enough for some people to justify paying full price again if you want the better version, but considering everything else you get with it, I suppose it could have been a lot worse. It's pretty funny how when Royal first released, it completely blew vanilla Persona 5 out of the water, making it obsolete, but here we are 2 years later where now the PS4 version is no longer needed when you can just get the one that runs more smoothly and has all of the DLC. And oh man, I am not used to seeing Persona 5 this buttery smooth after the several playthroughs I've done. ATLUS were generous enough to offer me a code for the PC release, where I can bump the frame rate even further to 120 if I wanted to, on top of 1440p resolution that I've translated to this video. Ooh, I'm getting fancy with my content now. Go on, check it out. I recently got myself a 144Hz monitor that can do all of this, which I can thank my brother Jude for introducing me to, and now 60 FPS looks choppy to me by comparison. You've spoiled me, bro. Still, even playing the game at 60 frames is quite an improvement over the original Persona 5 Royal. I can only guess that the Switch version doesn't do that since it's less powerful than a PS4, but given how well Catherine Full Body runs on the system, I don't think Persona 5 Royal should struggle that much, and reviews for it seem pretty good. Now, why can't Square Enix post all of their Kingdom Hearts games in cartridges when ATLUS can put a 100-hour PS4 game on just one? Unfortunately, I haven't finished this remastered version of P5R yet because I was given this code like 2 weeks before launch day. And if you know how long Persona 5 Royal is, 2 weeks ain't gonna be enough. A month at least, maybe 2 assuming you don't have all the free time in the world. Plus there's the script writing for this video, recording the voiceovers, and finally the editing. I've played through this game more than enough times though to tell you that I still highly recommend it. and it's so great that more people are going to be able to play it with a spread to other consoles. I did experience some frame rate dipping in the PC version when it came to the more populated town areas like Shibuya, the Underground Mall, and Kichijoji. The mall in Kichijoji definitely being the worst of it so far, but it never killed the whole experience for me in any way. And to be fair, my current specs aren't the most up to date, which I'll be rectifying soon and see if that makes things any better. For reference, this is what I have at the moment if you want to pause the video and take a look. Thankfully though, when it came to dungeon crawling and cutscenes, most of the time everything ran as well as I hoped it would. So that's good that you don't need the most modern parts for your PC, but yeah, wandering through towns and watching the performance tank like this is a bit of an eyesore. Hey everyone, this is my future self speaking now to let you all know that after spending a couple of days upgrading my PC with assistance from my brother and dad, who are way bigger computer whizzes than I ever could be, I can confirm that the frame rate in bigger areas were indeed tied to my now older specs, and the new parts have made them run much more smoothly. Still found myself going from 120 frames to 60, but it's a lot better than it was before, so get those parts for yourself if you can. In terms of bugs and glitches, I only encountered one a little bit into the game's opening where Sojiro's dialogue wouldn't appear and he and Ren were staring into each other's eyes like starstruck lovers.
Ooh boy.
But fiddling around with the buttons long enough fixed everything. I'm also unsure if this was intentional or not, but the red fog that covers up the all-out attacks for a short time makes it look somewhat rough. Aside from that, however, I didn't come across anything that was majorly game-breaking, so worry not, it doesn't seem like the ramped-up performance caused any setbacks. So with all of the technical stuff out of the way, have any of my opinions changed since the Trash or Treasure video and extended thoughts follow-up I did back in 2020? Surprisingly, not too much. I don't think I really got that deep into the writing of the game, but I still think it's spectacular and want to hang out with these characters for as long as possible. Sure, it's not always perfect, there's the rare bit of dialogue that's somewhat strangely written, some of the extras really suck at acting, a couple of the scenes are just there for subpar comedy, and the overall plot has a few quirks in it. Like how exactly do the Phantom Thieves go to Mementos without anyone noticing? Why are all of these rotten adults centered around Tokyo? And how does nobody figure out who these guys are when they're constantly leaving behind breadcrumbs, especially Ryuji shouting? But those are some extremely cherry-picked examples that don't really matter that much at the end of the day and are over so quickly that it doesn't impact the story that much. It's anime, it's not supposed to be realistic. Good grief, you're controlling high schoolers who are basically superheroes stepping into the world of someone's distorted mind where shadows roam and guard their leader's ultimate desire. You can cut it some slack. I feel as if lately Persona 5 gets unfairly criticized because of moments like these and are just looking for excuses to talk crap about a popular game. But I still think that the writing and story are interesting enough to immediately hook somebody in who hasn't played a Persona game before. Vanilla Persona 5 was the game that got me into this series like many other people, so I think the same can happen for those playing Royal on other platforms who couldn't experience the games for themselves because they've been a PlayStation property for so long, outside of the Q games and Strikers. The only part of Royal that does deserve all the hate in my opinion is that Okumura arc halfway through the game. It just sucks so hard and brings the pacing to a screeching halt when things are really getting going. It takes so long to get to the point of the story that really matters, and not to mention the RPG gameplay again. But when we do get to the important stuff, it's some of the worst the game has to offer. And I never look forward to this arc no matter how many times I replay this game. I don't care if you didn't find the boss that difficult, it's still terrible and I'll fight you about it. It really brings out Morgana's ugly side too, though I'll admit I'm a little more tolerable to the dude than I was previously. Maybe his improved attitude in Strikers helped a bit, and I do still get rather irritated when he's all pompous and full of himself, but I don't absolutely loathe Morgana like I used to. I don't know, even when I said I did back in the Trash or Treasure video for Royal, something about that didn't feel right. Don't get me wrong, Morgana is far from my favorite character in this game. He's not even close to being that good, but I've grown kinda numb to his antics at this point. Except for his blow up during the Okumura section, I can't justify that at all. I really wish Kasumi had a more prominent role in this game too, outside of the amazing third semester where all of her story comes together. I know she appears a few times beforehand to assist Joker in the real world and the metaverse, but I feel like she could have been of great help during some of the prior palaces, and she and Joker just click so well that I wanted to see more of them together instead of waiting so late in the game. At least her confidant abilities are useful. But yeah, in regards to the gameplay, I don't have that many problems with it. It's still just as fun to go through as it always is, and any issues I do have are very minor, like not being able to skip fusion failures or canceling alarms more efficiently. The difficulty might be a problem for more experienced players, however, especially if you're into Shin Megami Tensei where they provide tougher challenges. I've gone through this game a few times now, and weirdly the most punishing part in the whole thing was the very first palace, assuming you're playing on tougher difficulties anyway. You barely have any confidant abilities to speak of, magic and SP are limited, and enemies like Bareth or Archangel can kill you in one shot. Apart from that though, the rest of the game is a bit of a breeze. The Phantom Thieves have so much at their disposal that a number of the enemies can be total pushovers, sometimes even on hard mode. The bosses will probably give you a little more trouble, but even they have decent enough strategies to make your time more comfortable. In the case of the 6th boss, you can even have her kill herself while she's doing her super duper ultimate attack as long as you have Haru cast a physical reflection spell on your party.
Just kill her!
She killed herself!
Oh my
Well
god!
done. Oh, bravo.
Thank you, Haru and Tetrakarn.
Congrats. You played yourself.
Oh my god!
That was amazing.
That was awesome!
That's the really cool thing about Persona 5 Royal though. No matter how many times I go through this game, I'm always discovering something new. In my latest PC playthrough, for example, I didn't even know that Shadow Madarame could make a counterfeit of one of his clones that has incredibly low health and a status ailment on them, limiting his abilities as an artist. As another example, during my Arsene only run, I had no idea that Futaba could get even more support abilities by taking her to the jazz club every Sunday. I love it when games do stuff like this to make each run fresh and increase your knowledge of it. And while yes, Royal can be a fairly easy game, it's still unbelievably satisfying blowing shadows away with all sorts of tools, and again is a fantastic way to introduce newcomers to the series. I just love Persona 5 Royal so very much and will have no problem playing this again and again until the day I die. Yeah, it's not perfect, but the good things about it are so damn good that no amount of flaws can truly change my mind about this masterpiece. It's a great way for someone like myself who struggles talking to people to have a little taste of what to expect in normal social situations, whilst offering an insanely fun and unique battle system that even non-RPG players might enjoy. I'll have this version to go through as well as the Switch port when my pre-order arrives, as I acquire all of the achievements and unlock everything in the Thieves' Den, so I'm definitely gonna keep myself busy with this. But now there's no reason not to try this game out, and hopefully Persona 6 will be available for everybody instead of PlayStation owners first, everyone else second, whenever that gets announced anyway. It was a pretty crummy 25th anniversary for the Persona series all around, but at least we do have these new ports to fall back on, and if this happens to be your first time experiencing Persona, I hope you like it. Maybe try out the other games as well. We've got Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden getting the same treatment in January, so play Royal while you wait. Yes, they're remastering the portable version of Persona 3 instead of FES. I honestly don't care about that. I'm just once again happy that we don't need to buy a Vita or an expensive ass PSP copy to play it. We'll do a looking back at video for those games too when they get re-released. In the meantime, bring on Persona 6. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I'm thinking of romancing Hifumi on the PC version, and maybe do Takemi in the Switch version, since I haven't fully seen all of their dates yet, and I just really like Hifumi. Where's that Persona mouthwash we got for the anniversary? I might need it after all.